Today is the day, and ladies and gentlemen, we have a big update for you in this video. First up, we have this post from What's Up Franks that says 1010 leaked. Tesla plus DoorDash. Robotaxi will revolutionize delivery. Now, I don't know if that was actually leaked or not, if that was something that we're going to see from Tesla, but it did look pretty official. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it is true. Tesla partnering with DoorDash would make a whole lot of sense. Jim Cramer says you should buy Tesla ahead of October 10th. Now, this is the Tesla Robotaxi concept vehicle from Walter Isaacson's biography brought to life. This is something along the lines of what we could see. Now, as I've said before, if it's 2 seats, that's not going to be as exciting to me personally. I would think there would be a little bit of concern as well for the Model 2. I don't think the Robotaxi being 2 seats or 4 seats or 5 seats is really that big of a deal for the actual event today and what that'll do for Tesla stock. But if we're expecting the Model 2 is going to be built on the same platform as the Robotaxi, and if the Robotaxi is only 2 seats, that would mean the Model 2 is likely only going to be 2 seats. That would be a problem. So it's not really the Robotaxi itself being 2 seats that's the problem. It would be the Robotaxi. If it's 2 seats, it indicates the Model 2 is going to be 2 seats. And that kind of defeats the purpose of creating the Model 2 in the first place. To have a larger total addressable market, you kind of destroy that if you only have 2 seats. Elon Musk did make a prediction late last night, about 2:30 in the morning. He says that all transport will be fully autonomous within 50 years. And Tesla has added this countdown to their main website homepage. We Robot, with a literal countdown to the start of the event, which the event itself does take place at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight, so it's a late event. Also getting news that walls have started going up at Tesla's semi-factory in Nevada. That is pretty exciting. We're starting to get some real progress being made. It is being reported that non-Foundation Series Cybertruck deliveries have begun. The $80,000 Cybertruck is officially here. Uber now says it has about 182,000 EVs on its platform. Uber says, quote, Uber drivers are adopting EVs 5 times faster than the average motorist in the US, Canada, and Europe. In London, nearly 30% of all miles driven on Uber are now electric. And with Uber Green available in 200 plus cities globally, riders can now choose a hybrid or electric ride with one tap. And I think this is kind of exciting because it just shows when, Uber drivers are opting to buy EVs 5 times faster than the average motorist in the US, it's only a matter of time before everyone realizes the benefits to driving an EV. And it does look like we are actually going to get a drone show as well. That's probably why this event's taking place at 10 p.m. tonight, so it's dark, and it looks like they were actually testing this last night to get ready to, do it perfectly. And that you can clearly see is Optimus. Holmar's catalog says if I could have one wish, it would be Tesla to launch their rideshare service. Supervised or unsupervised rides. Doesn't matter to me. This would be a big new source of revenue. That's an interesting concept as well, that maybe we don't start with robotaxis, but maybe Tesla just operates like Uber, at least to start. That would get exciting very quickly. And there actually is growing speculation that this could be unveiled today and actually start in the not so distant future. Now, here on the day today, Tesla stock is actually down close to 1%, trading at $239 per share, which I think is actually good heading into this event. Now, in the beginning of the trading day, you did have a pretty aggressive sell-off where Tesla hit a low of $232 per share. Part of this was due to comments that Tesla could be negatively affected if Trump wins the White House. And then markets kind of realized, oh, that's kind of BS. I mean, Trump and Elon seem to be pretty cool. But the fact that Tesla stock is down today gives us a better chance of actually rallying after the event. It kind of lowers the bar, if you will. Option activity in Tesla stock today from hedge funds and institutions is quite neutral. You've seen 50 different trades totaling $34 million with a positive order value of 47%. If you take a look at the option expiration expiring this Friday, you have open interest of 61.5% calls, 38.5% puts. So almost a 2-to-1 ratio, 2 times as many calls versus puts. Tesla short sellers continue to cover on short positions. Tesla's short interest of free float falls to 2.67%. You currently have $17.88 billion currently sold short in Tesla stock, totaling 74.17 million shares. Here on the day today, you can actually see borrowed shares 378,000, return shares 272,000. So it does look like you have about 106,000 shares today that are being sold short. But that's pretty normal heading into such a large event. People want to hedge their bets a bit. We did get economic data today with core CPI coming in at 0.3%. The estimate was 0.2% month over month. Year over year came in at 3.3%. The estimate was 3.2%. So a little bit hotter on your core metric. Month over month came in a little bit hot as well, up 0.2%. The estimate was 0.1%. And year over year came in at 2.4%. The estimate was 2.3%. So across the board, you came in a little bit higher than expected. Specifically, if you look at super core that went up 0.4% month over month, this was the highest since April, driven by surging costs of professional medical services and record high auto insurance. And if you actually look at super core month over month, this was a pretty big rise from last month. The bigger story today, believe it or not, was initial jobless claims that came in at 258,000. This was the highest you have seen in a long time. The continuing jobless claims came in at 1.861 million, significantly above the consensus for 230,000 weekly jobless claims and 1.83 million continuing jobless claims. Weakness was concentrated in the Midwest and South. Weather, strikes, but tough to hand wave this one away. And Renaissance Macro Research says initial jobless claims were not just about the hurricanes. We saw big NSA increases in California, Ohio, and Michigan for the week ending October 5th. Axios says today the job market is, quote, frozen in place. Companies are hesitant to shrink or grow their payrolls for fear that they might be caught if the economy revs up or unexpectedly slows down, and workers seeing this tough hiring environment are less likely to quit their jobs. This was actually the highest initial jobless claims since June of 2023. This kind of flies in the face of the better than expected jobs report that we just had a couple of weeks ago. It's being reported that the Israeli Security Cabinet is expected to approve Israel's response plan to Iran. This was according to the New York Times that just came out around noon. We are seeing the VIX move up today about 0.25%, up to almost 21. And as Zero Hedge on X says, why the VIX is acting bananas, look at the events that are now in its 30-day window. You have September CPI that came out today, October non-farm payrolls on November 1st, the election on November 5th, the November FOMC on November 7th, and on November 13th, you have October CPI. And that's been the weirdest thing about this entire rally is markets are hitting new all-time highs like almost every day, but the VIX is above 20. That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's like people are looking around like, this is nice, but when's the shoe gonna drop? What's gonna happen? There's a lot of fear under the surface. You can see today the Russell 2000 and a lot of your interest rate sensitive stocks are the biggest losers. The Russell 2000 is down almost 1% today. NASDAQ eking out a positive 0.10% day. S&P 500's down marginally, and the Dow is down about 0.2%. Oil is yet again on the march higher, up about 3% today. The Israeli Defense Minister Gallant promised that any strike against Iran would be lethal, precise, and surprising. So mix some of these comments together and you're seeing oil spike 3%. That's not all too surprising. If oil does continue to spike and go through a larger rally, then that would be a big problem for the US economy. Here we can see today for Tesla stock, sentiment is extremely bullish at 77. Yesterday it was bullish at 60. Message volume today is high at 66. Yesterday was normal at 52. Participation ratio today is high at 55. CNN's Fear and Greed Index is coming in at 72. Yesterday it was also at 72. So not much of a change as far as this metric of looking at market sentiment. You have market momentum, that is greed, stock price strength, extreme greed, stock price breadth, extreme greed, put and call options, greed, market volatility is neutral, safe haven demands, extreme greed, and junk bond demand is neutral. You can see Google Trends data is really just continuing to trend lower, which I don't think is a super great sign, but we will have to see. I mean, this quarter's usually Tesla's best quarter. This is just really showing the US. I mean, we can bring this up to worldwide and see what that looks like. It looks like we're getting a little bit of a spike in the Model 3 from 30 to 32. Model Y is actually falling from 33 to 31. The Cybertruck's remaining pretty stable, around 38, 39 or so. The Model S is falling a little bit down to 11, and the Model X is at 8. So kind of mixed. If you look at Google Trends, the United States does look weaker, though, than collectively the world. Tesla continues to run about 4,000 different ads with Google. We can see inventory numbers globally are spiking again. The Model Y is up to about 7,400 vehicles in global inventories. The Model 3 is sitting at about 4,700. The Model X at 3,300 and the Model S at 2,200. Fed Williams made some pretty reassuring comments today. He says that he sees unemployment at 4.25% this year and around that in 2025. He also says that he sees 2024 GDP between 2.25 to 2.5%, 2.25% average over the next 2 years. Tesla stock on a technical basis, you are seeing this big down wick today. As long as this holds into the close, which I'm sure it will, that just means that sellers took over in the beginning of the day and then buyers came in and bought the stock up and sent the sellers running for the hills. Essentially, the sellers couldn't hold on and the buyers took over. That's a great sign, especially because it was around that 235 level, and it did appear like you got a lot of demand that started to come in around that 235 level. Now, to the downside, that's the level I would be watching for. To the upside, 246 is a big level, and then you really want to get above 250. If we do get downside, 225 is important. That is the 50-day moving average, and the 100-day moving average is sitting at $216 per share. So those are important downside levels, as well as that 100-day moving average or 200-day moving average at $202. If you take a look at the MACD, it doesn't look great in the short term. The MACD line is at 4.99, signal line at 7.18. So MACD line below the signal line, usually not a great indicator, and this gap is starting to widen quite a bit. The RSI is about as neutral as it possibly can be, sitting at 51.4. So definitely a lot of room for that upside move following this Robotaxi event later tonight. But we'll be back at 8 p.m. to specifically go over that, my expectations, and what could be coming for Tesla stock. That'll be 2 hours before the Robotaxi event actually kicks off. So come join us 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight here on the channel. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.